You believe you triumphed? My sister scoffed. I realized I've finally awakened. I answered. She hadn't anticipated the residents vanishing in a week. You think you won? My sister sneered, her eyes burning with pure venom. I just looked her dead in the eye and said, I think I finally woke up. She didn't expect her house, to be gone a week, but after years of being a human ATM, I was done. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who let others treat me like a doormat. I always worked hard, saved my money, and made smart choices. I wasn't the type to waste my earnings on people who didn't deserve it. At least, that's what I used to believe. But then came the nonstop pressure from my parents. It all started right after Jessica, my sister, got married. My mom and dad sat me down with these serious faces, like they were about to deliver groundbreaking news, and then they made their pitch. Jessica and Travis need a house, my mom said, folding her arms like it was already decided. They're in a good place financially, Ethan. It's your turn to support the family, she added, her voice dripping with expectation. I almost laughed. They said it like I was supposed to just nod and write a check without even thinking. They don't need a house, I countered. They can rent like everyone else. Mom rolled her eyes, a classic move. And waste money on rent, especially with a baby on the way. Dad jumped in, a tag team. We don't have space for them here, and you know it. They can either live with you or you help them buy a house. Be a man. I shook my head. That's not my job. They should have planned for this before getting married. That was my first mistake, thinking my no would actually mean something. From that moment on, they made it their mission to wear me down. Every single chat turned into a guilt trip. Mom would text me long, emotional messages about how family should help each other. Dad constantly reminded me that I was doing well while Jessica and Travis were just starting out. And Jessica? She never said a word. She just stayed quiet and let our parents do all the begging like she expected me to give in without even asking. For weeks, they kept pushing. Late-night calls, unexpected visits where they brought it up again and again. When I didn't answer, they left voicemails full of disappointment. One time, my mom even cried and said, I raised you better than this, Ethan. Eventually, I caved. Not because I wanted to. Not because I agreed with them. I was just utterly exhausted. Fine. You want a house? You've got one. I spent nearly all my savings. $293,000. That included fixing it up and furnishing it. It wasn't some huge mansion, but it was nice. Move-in ready, with a backyard and a safe neighborhood for the baby they kept talking about. I signed every document. Technically, the house was mine, but I planned to give it to them as a gift. I just needed to hand them the keys, but right before that, I had to leave town for a few days for work. While I was gone, my parents decided not to wait. They gave Jessica and Travis the keys and let them move in without even telling me. At first, I didn't think much of it. When I came back, I stopped by to say congratulations. I thought maybe they'd be excited to see me. Maybe they'd say thank you. But instead, they barely even looked at me. Jessica mumbled something like, we're still getting settled. Travis was too busy moving boxes to even greet me. I stood there, waiting for them to say something, anything. But nothing came. No smile, no hug, no offer to show me around the home I paid for. I walked away, trying not to take it personally. I told myself maybe they were just tired. Maybe they were busy. Maybe I was expecting too much. That was on Monday. Then came Saturday. I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw Jessica's post. A full-blown housewarming party. The place was packed. Friends, neighbors, extended family. And right there in the photos, my parents smiling and laughing. The caption stopped me cold. Now we have our own place like all normal Americans. Life is easy. I wasn't invited. Something inside me snapped. I read that caption over and over again, my blood boiling each time. Now we have our own place like all normal Americans. Life is easy, as if they had bought it, as if they worked for it, as if they earned it. The party looked wild. Tables full of food, drinks, people laughing. It was a celebration. My parents were there, having a blast. Even family I hadn't seen in years showed up. But not me. The guy who spent every cent possible. I wasn't even mentioned. I didn't get an invite. I didn't get a thank you. I wasn't part of the story. And just like that, I realized how little I meant to them. I was so angry. My fists were clenched tight, my knuckles turning white. I wanted to call Jessica right away and ask her what the heck she was thinking, but I stopped myself. I already knew how it would go. She'd give me some lazy excuse or a fake apology, and I'd still be mad. No, this wasn't a phone call thing. This needed to happen face to face. So, the next morning, I drove straight to my house. Not Jessica's, mine. She opened the door, wearing pajamas, holding a cup of coffee, looking calm like nothing was wrong. "Oh," she said, blinking. "Did you text first? Why wasn't I invited?" I asked, cutting her off. Her expression changed for a second. It looked like she felt a mix of guilt and annoyance. She took a sip of her drink, buying time. "Ethan, come on. It was just a small get-together," she said. "Small get-together?" I retorted. Half the family was there. Mom and Dad were there. Even people I haven't seen in years were there. But I wasn't. She sighed loudly, like I was being dramatic. "We didn't think you'd feel comfortable. It wasn't really about you." I laughed bitterly. "Not about me. I'm the one who bought this house." Right then, Travis showed up in the hallway with his arms crossed. "Dude, it was just a housewarming. Don't make this into a big deal." I ignored him. All I wanted was a simple thank you. When I came over before, you both treated me like a stranger. And now this. Jessica set her mug down and tilted her head like she was talking to a little kid. "Money can't buy respect, Ethan." I blinked. Did she really just say that? She crossed her arms and kept going. "You chose to buy this house. That was your decision. That doesn't mean we have to treat you like some hero. Honestly, I think it's kind of sad. If I were you, I wouldn't have done it. I'd have more self-respect." Something inside me broke. "So, let me get this straight. You think I'm a loser for spending my money to help you?" She shrugged. "Yeah, you basically begged for us to like you. You threw away almost $300,000 just to feel appreciated, and it didn't even work. I actually respect you less now." Travis laughed. I looked at him, then back at Jessica. I took a deep breath and smiled. "You must have forgotten. Or maybe you never even checked. Whose name is actually on the deed to this house?" Jessica's face went pale. Travis suddenly looked serious. "Wait, what do you mean?" I stepped toward the door. "I mean, you two should start packing because by the end of this week, you won't be living here anymore." Their eyes widened in shock, but I didn't stick around for the drama. I walked out and slammed the door behind me. Let's see how easy life feels now. By the time I got back to my car, my phone was blowing up. Calls from Jessica, texts from my parents. I ignored every single one. I wanted to enjoy the thought of them panicking, finally realizing their little perfect setup was about to fall apart. It didn't take long for things to go south. Not even an hour later, I was home when I heard loud banging at the door. I already knew who it was. I opened it to see my mom standing there, arms waving, eyes wide like I had told her the world was ending. "You can't do this, Ethan," she yelled, pushing her way inside. My dad followed, not shouting, but looking just as shocked. I shut the door behind them. "Actually, I can." "Where are they going to live?" my mom demanded. "They have a baby coming. Did you even think this through?" I folded my arms. Did they think about anything before throwing a party and not inviting me or calling me a loser for helping them? Mom waved her hand like that didn't matter. "Jessica is your sister, and Travis is part of the family now. You can't just take a house away from family." I laughed and shook my head. "Funny, when you all pressure me to buy the house, you acted like it wasn't mine anymore. But now that I'm taking it back, suddenly everyone remembers I'm the owner." Finally, my dad spoke up, trying to be calm. "Son, let's just be reasonable. You already spent the money. Let go. What's done is done." I looked at both of them, my mom and dad, and suddenly it hit me. They weren't mad at Jessica. They weren't mad at Travis. They were mad at me. Why? Because I stood up for myself. Because I finally said no. I shook my head. I'm done being the family's bank machine. They're moving out this week, or I'll get a real estate agent to sell the house. Mom gasped like I had done something terrible. "You're kicking out your pregnant sister?" she said, shocked. "She did this to herself," I said calmly. "She could have just said thank you. She could have treated me with kindness, but instead she insulted me. So now she has to deal with the consequences." Mom turned to Dad. "Say something." Dad sighed. "Ethan, do you really want to start all this trouble in the family?" I looked right at him. "You and Mom caused this. You both pushed me into paying for that house. You made me feel like I had no choice. And now that I'm taking control, You act like I'm the bad guy. Then Mom's voice changed. It got low and serious. If you go through with this, you'll break this family apart. I took a breath and looked her straight in the eye. Then it's already broken. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Dad looked angry but stayed quiet. I walked to the door and opened it wide. If you're done trying to make me feel guilty, you can leave now. I've got a house to sell. Mom started crying as they left. Dad gave me a look full of disappointment. But me? I didn't feel bad. Not even a little. They made me think I owed Jessica everything. They acted like my money was their money. Well, now they were going to learn the truth. Jessica and Travis had 1 week to move out, and I wasn't joking. Less than 2 hours later, Jessica showed up. She didn't bang on the door like our mom. No, she came with a different plan. When I opened the door, she looked sad. Her eyes were red from crying, and she hugged herself like she was cold. If I didn't know her so well, I might have thought she was really sorry. Ethan, please. I leaned against the doorframe. Please what? She sniffled. I know I said some bad things. I didn't mean them. I was just stressed. You know, pregnancy hormones. There it was. The I'm pregnant, feel sorry for me excuse. I crossed my arms. So, when you called me a loser and laughed at me after I helped you, that was just hormones? She nodded quickly. Yes. I didn't mean any of that. I was overwhelmed. The baby, the move, everything. I really do appreciate what you did. I tilted my head. Funny. That's the first time I've ever heard you say that. Her lips started to shake. You can't kick us out. We have nowhere to go. I shrugged. Not my problem. I'm sure Mom and Dad will let you live with them. Her face changed fast. They don't want us there. I raised one eyebrow. Then maybe you should ask them why they won't help. Instead of thinking I'll always be your backup plan. She took a deep breath. Okay, fine. You want an apology? I'm sorry, Ethan. There. I said it. I stayed quiet, just looked at her. She blinked. What? I said I'm sorry. Say what you're really sorry for. She waited, then spoke slowly. I'm sorry I didn't invite you to the party, and for saying mean things to you. She looked uncomfortable, like she didn't really mean it. I nodded. Then her voice turned cold again. Ethan, come on. I stared at her. You're only sorry because you got caught. You're only saying this now because you need something. You're not sorry for using me. You're not sorry for treating me like garbage after you got what you wanted. She opened her mouth, then closed it. She had no comeback. I smiled. You got 6 days left. I started to close the door, but she stopped it with her hand. Wait, just let us rent the house from you. Please, we'll pay you rent every month. You won't lose money, and we won't have to move. I laughed. With what money? Travis can't even afford gas. And you think I'm going to chase you every month for rent? That's never going to happen. Her face turned red. I will pay. You just have to trust me. I sighed. Like how you trusted me enough to invite me to your party. Or trusted me enough not to talk behind my back the moment you moved in. She looked away. She had no answer because this time she knew I wasn't playing around. After Jessica finished talking, I knew I was done. So I slammed the door right in her face. Not even a full minute passed before my phone buzzed. It was a text from her. Selling the house doesn't make you less of a loser. You'll always be alone, Ethan. Enjoy your money. I smiled and put my phone down. We'll see how she feels in a few days when she's carrying boxes back to Mom and Dad's place. When Saturday came, I made sure to drive by the house. I wanted to see it all with my own eyes. Jessica and Travis were outside packing. Their faces looked angry and embarrassed. They were throwing suitcases, boxes, and furniture into their old, beat-up car. My parents were there, too, just standing with their arms crossed, looking upset, but not at Jessica, not at Travis. They were angry at me. I leaned on my car, crossed my arms, and smiled. Need some help? I asked. Jessica gave me a look that could burn through metal. Go to hell, Ethan. I smirked. You sure? I help you move in. It's only fair I help you move out. Travis slammed the trunk hard. This is so stupid. I shrugged. What did you expect? He turned toward me, face red. We're your family. Who kicks out their pregnant sister? I held up one finger. Correction. I didn't kick you out. I just reminded you this house was never yours. Jessica rolled her eyes. You think you're better than us now? You think you won? I tilted my head. I think I finally stopped being a fool. Then Mom stepped forward, arms still tight across her chest. I hope you're happy, Ethan. You embarrassed your sister. You turned your back on family. I raised one eyebrow. You turned your back on me. As soon as I wasn't useful anymore. Dad shook his head and mumbled, pathetic. I laughed. Pathetic? You're calling me pathetic? I didn't trick someone into buying me a house. I didn't throw a party in a house I didn't pay for. And I definitely didn't insult the person who gave it to me. Jessica rolled her eyes again. Just stop. You love acting like a victim. I looked at her for a second, then smiled. Not really, but I do love watching karma work its magic. Travis kicked a box in frustration. This is dumb. Totally agree, I said. You two had it easy. A free house. A fresh start. All you had to do was be nice. But that was too much, huh? Jessica gritted her teeth. You're so petty. I shrugged. Yep, I am. But you earned this. Mom stepped forward again. Jessica, Travis, let's just go. He's made his choice. Let him stay alone in his empty house. I grinned. Oh, it won't be empty for long. I already have buyers lined up. That shut them up. Jessica's face twisted. You're really selling it? Yep. Should be off my hands soon. She opened her mouth to say something, but didn't. A few minutes later, they were gone. Stuffed into their car, driving back to Mom and Dad's. I let out a long breath. For the first time in a long while, I felt light. Free. I had spent years being the one everyone counted on, the one who fixed everything, the responsible one. But today I was just me. 1 week later, my phone rang. I didn't need to check. I knew who it was. I let it ring a few times. I didn't even want to answer, but I did. It was my mom. Her voice was sharp and cold. After everything you've done, you are no longer our son. Wow. No warm-up. No fake guilt trip. Just straight to you're dead to us. You think this is funny? She snapped. You embarrassed your sister. You made her life harder. She went on. She's pregnant, and you're doing all this for your ego. You're disgusting. I leaned back in my chair, took a deep breath, and shook my head. Okay, let's rewind just for laughs. You and Dad pressure me into buying them a whole house. Cool. They moved in without saying thanks. Great. Then they threw a party and didn't invite me. Awesome. When I showed up later, Jessica called me a loser to my face. So, I took back my house and I'm the bad guy. She shot back. You abandoned your family. I laughed. No, Mom. You abandoned me the second I stopped being your free ATM. Dead silence. I could hear Dad mumbling something in the background, probably trying to be the voice of reason, but she ignored him. I could just imagine them planning this call like it was a movie scene, like I was going to cry or say sorry. Spoiler alert. I felt nothing except maybe free. I sighed, already over the conversation. Do me a favor, lose my number. And just like that, I hung up. I expected the usual follow-up, a dramatic voicemail, a guilt trip text, maybe even a Bible verse thrown in there for extra spice. But nothing. Total silence. Honestly, a little surprising, but I wasn't mad. After that, I did the final thing I needed to do. I sold a house. Yeah, I could have waited for a better offer, maybe made a little more money, but I didn't care. That house was just a big reminder of how much I'd spent on people who couldn't care less. So, I dropped the price by 25% just to get out of my life. And it worked. It sold fast. 2 days later, I got a text from an unknown number. But let's be real, I knew who it was. You're so petty, Ethan. You could have let us stay. Instead, you wasted money just to prove a point. You'll always be a miserable loser. I stared at it for a second, then delete. No reply. No anger. Just gone. Because, yeah, they were right about one thing. I did waste money. Thousands, actually. I lost cash. I lost family. I lost the little lie I kept telling myself that just because someone shares your blood, they'll have your back. But you know what? I gained something way better. I learned the one lesson most people don't figure out until way too late. Never help people who don't appreciate it. Especially family. Because family, they're the ones who think they can take everything from you, and you'll just smile and take it. Not me. Not anymore. From now on, I take care of one person. Me.